Hello, just a quick update today. It's getting towards the end of day 4, yes, day 4 of the 7DRL Challenge 2015. I'm tired. Today has been a slow moving day. That's not to say an easy day, but a slow moving one. My 7DRL buddy has been doing quite a lot of stuff on the tech side today. He's been piling in the hours as much as he can during his evening. And there are some advancements. He's been putting in some stuff with weaponry and that kind of thing. Also added some more presentational stuff. A few people have remarked that the game is, even in its current state, relatively pretty. We're going for a presentational aspect to it because that seems consistent with the fact that we are emphasising descriptive text to try and evoke a feel and an atmosphere. It just makes sense to have a slightly more lavish visual style than typical for a roguelike, particularly an ASCII one. So there's sort of a half sprite, half ASCII thing going on. And in keeping with that presentational direction, we've added some music. I say we, again, I mean the tech partner of this partnership has added some light sort of music and ambient background sounds and that kind of thing. So that's good. That's actually come out really well, and he's made it so it fits the feel of the different areas. So that's nice. I'm really excited to see more of that in action. But on my side of things, it's been slow going because I've written a lot of the descriptive, creative stuff, and we've reached a point where there isn't a lot more that we can do on things like ability design and enemy design and that kind of thing until they're actually fully in the game. Now that's in process, but it's not at the point where we're actually interacting with stuff in the game yet. That's the next thing, I think, pretty much. Objects and enemies and whatnot. But until those are actually in and we can test out how they're working, we've kind of reached a plateau as to how much we can progress with that side of things. So what I've been working on, as much as I can, is design of static areas. We intend to have something like maybe 3 or 4 pre-designed areas in the game. Basically some boss rooms and 1 or 2 other locations. Have you ever designed a boss room? I haven't, until now, and it's a lot harder than you'd imagine. Trying to design a room in such a way that it's not just a room. I mean, what do you do with it? Where do you put things? What things do you put in? Trying to work out how the battle is going to go down and thus how the room should reflect that. Whether the room should be designed to enhance the way the battle is intended to go, or whether it should try to prevent certain tactical approaches or play off certain boss abilities, or what. It's an enormous headache. Not to mention actually visually designing one, trying to draw a boss room is astonishingly difficult. So that's what I mean when I say today's been slow progress, and that's why it's a relatively quick update today. It's been a grueling process of trying to figure out what's going into the boss rooms, and I've felt like I've just been beating my head on the desk all evening. So there's that. But we're getting there. There will be some form of playable game by the end of the week, because we're on the verge of getting gameplay in properly, and then it becomes a matter of putting in the other stuff that isn't going to work until gameplay is there. So some balancing, working out exactly how weapon and magic effects are going to affect enemies and that kind of stuff. So gameplay is going in imminently, and that's going to be the final big hurdle. After that, it's wrapping up. And the game is not going to be what we intended it to be. At this point, that is unavoidable. And from what I understand, that's a fairly common experience with people in 7DRL. Particularly first-timers. But I gather it's fairly common that you end up basically having to cut back on what you hoped to be able to do during the course of the project. And that's certainly the case here. Luckily, we did have kind of a backup plan. We knew from the outset that we had to have fallback positions for if we weren't able to push ahead as far as we hoped to. And you never know, depending on what happens after the end of the week. As I say, we are going to have a playable game. It won't be everything we intended, but it will exist. And it will be playable, and it will be a game. But depending on how we feel about the game in the weeks to come, you never know. You never know. Maybe we'll do some more on it. I mean, there is the annual roguelike release party later in the year. So there's that. You never know. But at the moment, 7DRL is the focus, and once that's finished, I mean, the idea is for it to be a finished game, so we may just leave it there, do some bug fixing after the week is over, that kind of thing, and some polishing up rough edges, and then just leave it. We don't know. At this point, the priority is get gameplay in the game, and then make sure it actually runs and works properly, and there's no weird-ass stuff happening. So, we're getting there, but it's been a tough day on my side because I'm left with design tasks which are very, very difficult for me. And there's a lot of the technical stuff going on, so I know that my 7DRL partner is under a lot of strain on that front, trying to make sure that all the technical stuff is implemented and in place by the end of the week, or at least early enough before the end of the week that we have time to actually play test and bug test and polish a bit before the challenge wraps up. So yeah, it's a tough time, but we still have 3 days left, plus what remains of this evening, a couple of hours. So continue wishing me luck. I know some of you have been wishing me luck every day. Please keep going, because it's appreciated. So there'll be more updates tomorrow, hopefully, and maybe I'll even show you around the game with its sound effects in place, depending on what else goes into the game tomorrow. So, until the next time, bye for now.